So I'm just going to do a quick video on how to do this because the Upwork dude is sort of being a little um, annoying, and this is like really actually like quick work to do. So he would do it with Elementor. This is like the page builder that he bought or that he set up for your site. Most of your pages are done with this. And I just did like a quick build it out in like the default WordPress editor, which I like using. I'm just not familiar with Elementor, but you know, they both have a learning curve. So what I did was, you know, here's sort of like your title. And then when you get down to this row, you can use the plus button to add some columns. And then I add, you know, double width columns as per the thing. And then inside this, I add 2 columns again, double width columns. And then in this one, I add an image. So I will scroll to the image. If I don't see image in there, I'll start typing it in. Here it is. And then I will upload it, or I'll grab it from the media library where it already is. So you can see like, okay, here's a PR newswire logo, right? And then I'll come over, and whenever I don't have anything in here, I always just want to add a paragraph to start because then I can start typing. But I'll add like my heading in. So this is like a shortcut for adding a heading that's like an H3. But what you can do, because you're not going to be in here enough to like remember all these little tricks, heading, H3. All right, so here is the Cision title, right? So that's the title of the article. And then I'm going to hit enter, and that'll take me down to the next block. I'm going to again add a paragraph, and the paragraph is going to be like read article or whatever I want to call it. And then I'm just going to turn this into a link. So I'm going to highlight it, click the link button, and then I'm going to, you know, paste the link in, or, you know, get it from whatever. So I'll be like, you know, cision.com ABC, and then press enter or press this button to add that link. So now that this is done, I can do another one on the other side, or I can click here and then hit up, and that highlights the whole column. And then I hit up again, and that highlights both columns, right? So at that point, I could just copy this whole thing, right? Like duplicate or hit Command C to copy it, and then highlight it again. So click on something, go up again, grab these little dots and drag it over to here. And now I've got 2, and I can just replace this image with a new image, right? Upload it, use this as a template for the new one. And when it says start writing or type to choose block, it's because it already put a paragraph in there. So what I do is I'll just start typing to get this little bar to pop up, and then I'll just like remove this block. So now if I save this draft and I preview, you'll see that it sort of looks the way that you were expecting it to look. You've got your logo over here, you've got your article title over here, and then you can just kind of go down the row. Now, if this is small or you wanted this to be a button, like you could, where were we? You could make this bigger by changing it from a paragraph to making it like an H4, right? So if it's an H3, H4, it'll be smaller. Now I preview that, and you can see that this one looks a little bigger now. You can also, at that point, say, okay, I just actually want this to be a button. So it won't let you transform it into a button. So you go to paragraph, and then here, let's just start over. So I'm just going to delete that, hit enter, hit the plus thing, look for buttons, and then it's going to add a button in there. And I can give the background color like, you know, the color blue or whatever color we want it to be. I can get rid of the border because you can see there's like a little black border here. But let's say this is read article. And then now as I hover over, you can see there's a little link button. I add the link, cision.com, ABC. And then let's preview it. And now you can see it says like, okay, read article over here, right? And you can do it in like your specific color too. So this is how I would do it. And now you can also see that the decision is like adjusted to the left, right? And we don't necessarily want that. Like we want it to be like centered maybe. Or if you have different size logos or whatever and you want it to look good and you want to make them like a little tighter, you could do your column sizing a little different. Now this should by default be mobile responsive, but you can see how like quickly you get into a little bit of trouble doing things that like, this is in 1, 2, this is in like a 1/4 column, right? So like as it gets bigger, it's going to look weird until it flips over. Now, no one has a browser that's this size, right? Like people are either here or they're here or they're here, right? So it doesn't really matter. It's not super important, but that's just something to keep in mind is like the simpler it is, the more responsive it's going to be by default without someone having to fiddle with it more. So let's say you wanted the Cision logo itself or this title to be a link. And remember, you only have to like do it once and then you're just copying and pasting it and then editing it out. So like, here's the link. I'm going to grab the link, right? Copy it. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to say, or let's just use this one. And I'm going to highlight that link. Now, oops, I want to remove that. Now it's linked, right? And now if I want this to be linked, I do the same thing. I just use the link button, I paste it in, I make sure that it's the right one, I hit enter, and now they should all be linked. And you can see that the links by default are blue for this theme, so it's like showing up that way. But now all these things are linked, and we can say, okay, we want this to be like the template. So I'm clicking back in here and I'm hitting the up button on my mouse until I get to the columns, right? And then now I'm duplicating the columns. And now I can hit the up button again to sort of get to that big column block, right? When it's all highlighted. And then I'm just going to drag that above this one. Sometimes it doesn't like it. Yeah, so you kind of have to like fiddle around so you get that blue line where you want it to be. Let's see. It's not going to like it for the tutorial. All right, so it's like in the middle, and now it's up there. I'm going to get rid of this one. So I'm clicking on that. I'm clicking up twice to get to my columns. I'm just hitting delete. And now I've got my two rows. So now that I'm in this double column, if I hit up again, I'm in like the column for the full section. And if you ever get confused about where you are, there's these little like dots here for the navigation, and it'll sort of show you like what you have highlighted and what's inside what you have highlighted. So it's just like, it's useful at that point. So I'm going to click here, I'm going to hit up until I get the whole thing highlighted, right? And now I can just take this and I can just like duplicate this all day. So whenever you're ready to add new ones, right? Like, let's say you like, I'm going to leave one of these for the style. But I'm just going to click somewhere in there and then I'm going to hit shift and highlight. So I'm just going to like click somewhere and highlight to get to the ones that I want to delete. It's not working. So up, up. All right, so now I'm up to the one that I wanted to highlight. I'm just going to delete. I'm going to delete that one. So now we're just going to have these two. So let's like preview, make sure it looks okay. And so it sort of looks the way that we wanted it to look, right? So you have this option for this one where it's just like read article and it's simple. And then you got one where everything's linked and you can just replace these. So let's say you have like an odd number, then you would just delete what's in this one, right? Don't delete the whole thing. I just want to delete the buttons. And now I'm going to save draft and preview, and you're going to see it should at least, yeah, just get rid of that last one. So if you only got one, it can be there. If you got two, it can be like that, 3, whatever. And then you're just like copying and pasting and duplicating. So if you have any issues, like let me know. I'm going to leave this page saved so you can just like hop right in here and work. But if you have any trouble, just like hit me up.